أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم وكان الله سميعا عليما. The chapter An-Nisa, the verse number 148. God doesn't like any evil to be mentioned openly, unless it be by him who has been wronged thereby, and God is indeed all hearing, all knowing. Allah doesn't like any bad thing to be spoken openly, unless it be by him who has been oppressed there, and Allah is really hears everything, knows everything. Explanation 161. As some of the commentators, example Razi, point out, this may refer to giving currency to earlier sayings or deeds of the repentant sinners, both hypocrites, double-faced people, and outright deniers, open deniers of the truth, mentioned in the preceding two verses, mentioned in the previous two verses, an interpretation which seems to be borne out, to be confirmed, approved by the context. However, the above statement has a general import, general meaning as well. It prohibits, bans the public mention of anybody's evil deeds, bad deeds, or sayings, words, unless it be by him who has been wronged, oppressed thereby, which also implies that evil behavior, evil actions, which affects, influences the society as a whole, may be made public if the interest of the wronged party, oppressed people, in this case the society as such, demand it. Verse number 149. إن تبدوا خيرا أو تخفوه أو تعفو عن سوء فإن الله كان عفوا قديرا. Whether you do good openly or in secret, or pardon others for evil done unto you, for behold, God is indeed an absolver of sins, infinite in his power. Whether you do good openly or in secret, nobody sees, or pardon others, forgive others for evil, for bad things done unto you, you were influenced because of their evil actions. For behold, pay attention, God is really an absolver, a forgiver of sins, endless in his power. Verse number 150. إن الذين يكفرون بالله ورسله ويريدون أن يفرقوا بين الله ورسله ويقولون نؤمن ببعض ونكفر ببعض ويريدون أن يتخذوا بين ذلك سبيلا. Verily, those who deny God and his apostles by endeavoring to make a distinction between belief in God and belief in his apostles, and who say, we believe in the one, but we deny the other, and we want to pursue a path in between. Indeed, those who refuse Allah and his messengers by trying to make a distinction between belief in Allah and belief in his messengers, and who say, we believe in the one, but we don't accept the other, and want to pursue a path in between. So they believe some prophets and they don't believe others. Explanation 162. Or we believe in some and we deny the others, that is, namely, they believe in God, Allah, but not in His apostles, messengers, Zamakhshari says, or alternatively, they believe in some of the apostles and refuse others. Tabari and Zamakhshari say, to my mind, according to Muhammad Asad, the first of these two interpretations, commentaries, is preferable in as much as it covers, because it covers not only a rejection of some of the apostles, but also a total rejection of the idea that God may have revealed His will, showed His will through His chosen message bearers, chosen messengers. In Islam, the rejection of any or all of God's apostles constitutes almost as grave as a sin, as serious a sin as a denial of God Himself. So, if a person says that he disbelieves one of the prophets, he becomes denier of Allah, because all prophets were sent by Allah. Verse number 151. أولئك هم الكافرون حقا وأعتدنا للكافرين عذابا مهينا. It is they who are truly denying the truth, and for those who deny the truth, we have readied shameful suffering. It is those people who are really refusing the truth, the Quran, and for those who deny the truth, we have prepared a disgraceful grief for them. Verse number 152. والذين آمنوا بالله ورسله ولم يفرقوا بين أحد منهم أولئك سوف يؤتيهم أجورهم وكان الله غفورا رحيما. But as for those who believe in God and His apostles and make no distinction between any of them, unto them in time will He grant their rewards in full. And God is indeed much forgiving, a dispenser of grace. But as for those people who believe in Allah and His prophets and make no distinction between any of them, unto them in time will Allah give their awards in full. And Allah is really forgives much, gives His grace. Explanation 163, i.e. in point of their being God's message bearers, God's messengers. Verse number 153. يسألك أهل الكتاب أن تنزل عليهم كتابا من السماء فقد سألوا موسى أكبر من ذلك فقالوا أرنا الله جهرة فأخذتهم الصاعقة بظلمهم ثم اتخذوا العجل من بعد ما جاءتهم البينات فعفونا عن ذلك وآتينا موسى سلطانا مبينا. The followers of the Old Testament demand of thee, O Prophet, that thou cause a revelation to be sent down to them from heaven. And an even greater thing than this did they demand of Moses when they said, Make us see God face to face, whereupon the thunderbolt of punishment overtook them for this their wickedness. After that they took to worshipping the golden calf, and this after all evidence of the truth had come unto them. Nonetheless, we effaced this sin of theirs and vouchsafed unto Moses a clear proof of the truth. The believers of the Old Testament, including Torah, demand of you, O Prophet Muhammad, that you bring a revelation to be sent down to them from the sky. And an even greater thing than this they want of Moses when they said, Make us see God, make us see Allah openly, clearly. whereupon the lightning of punishment caught them for this their wickedness, for this their sinfulness. After that, they got used to worshipping the golden calf, and this happened after they were rescued from Pharaoh's oppression. And this after all clear evidence, all proof of the truth had come unto them. Nonetheless, we exterminated this sin of theirs and gave unto Moses a clear proof of the truth. Explanation 164. As is evident clear from the sequence, from the order, the term Ahl al-Kitab, followers of earlier revelation, followers of the Torah and the Bible, the Gospel, refers here specifically, particularly to the Jews, which justifies its rendering as followers of the Old Testament. Although the expression includes the followers of the Torah and the Gospel, in this context, Muhammad says, it is about the followers of Old Testament, so Jews. Explanation 165. Namely, in proof of thy prophethood, in proof of your prophethood. Alternatively, as another option, the sentence may be understood this: they ask thee to bring down, to take down, to put down unto them an actual, real book from heaven, from sky. In view, however, of the oft repeated often Quranic statement that the Jews were convinced that they alone could be given divine revelation. Only divine revelation comes to them, they believe. It seems to me that the rendering accepted by Muhammad said, is the more appropriate. Explanation 166. See the chapter Baqarah, verse number 55 and the corresponding note. Verse number 154. وَرَفَعْنَا فَوْقَهُمُ الطُّورَ بِمِيثَاقِهِمْ وَقُلْنَا لَهُمُ ادْخُلُوا الْبَابَ سُجَّدًا وَقُلْنَا لَهُمْ لا تعدوا في السبت وأخذنا منهم ميثاقا غليظا. Raising Mount Sinai high above them in witness of their solemn pledge, and we said unto them, enter the gate humbly, and we told them, do not break the Sabbath law, and we accepted from them a most solemn pledge. Raising mountain Sinai high above the son of Israel in witness of their serious promise, and we said unto them, enter the gate modestly, and we told them, do not break the Sabbath law, and we accepted from them a most serious promise. Explanation 167. See the chapter Baqarah, verse number 58 and 59 and the corresponding notes. Verse number 155. فَبِمَا نَقْضِهِمْ مِيثَاقَهُمْ وَكُفْرِهِمْ بِآيَاتِ اللَّهِ وقتلهم الأنبياء بغير حق وقولهم قلوبنا غلف بل طبع الله عليها بكفرهم فلا يؤمنون إلا قليلا. And so we punished them for the breaking of their pledge and their refusal to acknowledge God's messages and their slaying of prophets against all right and their boast, our hearts are already full of knowledge. Nay, but God has sealed their hearts in result of their denial of the truth, and now they believe in but few things. And so we punished them for the breaking of their solemn promise and their refusal to acknowledge God's messages, and their killing of prophets, killing of messengers against all right, and their pride. Our hearts are already full of knowledge. We know everything, they think. No, but God has closed their hearts in result of their refusal of the truth, and now they believe in but few orders of Allah, few teachings of Allah. Explanation 168. The statement relating to their punishment, clearly implied here, clearly given here, is made explicit, clear in verse. Explanation 169. See the chapter Baqarah, verse number 88 and the corresponding notes. Verse number 156. وَبِكُفْرِهِمْ وَقَوْلِهِمْ عَلَى مَرْيَمَ بُهْتَانًا عَظِيمًا. And for their refusal to acknowledge the truth and the awesome calumny which they utter against Mary, and for their denial to accept the truth and terrible slander, terrible defamation which they say against Mary, mother of Jesus. Explanation 170. The calumny, the slander referred to is the popular Jewish assertion that Jesus was an illegitimate, unlawful child. Verse number 157. وَقَوْلِهِمْ إِنَّا قَتَلْنَا الْمَسِيحَ عِيسَى ابْنَ مَرْيَمَ رَسُولَ اللَّهِ وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ وَإِنَّ الَّذِينَ اخْتَلَفُوا فِيهِ لَفِي شَكٍّ مِّنْهُ مَا لَهُمْ بِهِ مِنْ عِلْمٍ إِلَّا اتِّبَاعَ الظَّنِّ وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ يَقِينًا. And their boast, behold, we have slain the Christ Jesus, son of Mary, who claimed to be an apostle of God. However, they did not slay him, and neither did they crucify him, but it only seemed to them as if it had been so. And verily, those who hold conflicting views thereon are indeed confused, having no real knowledge thereof, and following mere conjecture. For of a certainty they did not slay him. And their pride, pay attention, we have killed the Christ Jesus, son of Mary, who claimed to be an apostle of God, a messenger of Allah. However, they didn't kill him, and neither did they crucify Jesus, but it only seemed to them as if it had been so. And indeed, those who hold conflicting views, contradicting views, opinions thereon are really confused. Their mind are confused, having no real knowledge thereof, and following only supposition. For of a certainty they did not kill him. Explanation 171. Thus the Quran categorically denies, doesn't accept, the story of the crucifixion of Jesus. Crucifixion, the execution of a person by nailing or binding them to a cross. There exist among Muslims many fanciful, imaginary legends, myths, stories, telling us that the last moment God substituted for Jesus a person closely resembling him, like him. According to some accounts, that person was Judas. In general, Muslim commentators accept that Judas was crucified in place of Jesus, who was subsequently, afterwards, crucified in his place. However, none of these legends, stories, finds the smallest support in the Quran or in authentic, real traditions of Prophet Muhammad, and the stories produced in this connection by the classical commentators must be summarily, immediately rejected, refused. So Asad doesn't accept the narrations related to Judas. They represent no more than confused attempts at harmonizing the Quranic statement that Jesus was not crucified with the graphic description, with the live description in the Gospels of his crucifixion. The story of the crucifixion as such has been succinctly, briefly explained in the Quranic phrase وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ, which I render as, I give the meaning as, but it only appeared to them as if it had been so, implying that in the course of time, long after the time of Jesus, a legend, a story, myth, had somehow grown up, possibly under the then powerful influence of Mithraistic beliefs. Mithraism, also known as the Mithraic mysteries, was a mystery religion centered on the god Mithras that was practiced in the Roman Empire from about the 1st to the 4th century after Christ. The religion was inspired by Iranian worship of the god Mithra. Through the Greek Mithras was linked to a new and distinctive imagery, and the level of continuity between Persian and Greco-Roman practices debated. The mysteries were popular among the Roman military. Mithraistic beliefs to the effect that he had died on the cross in order to atone, in order to compensate for the original sin of Adam, they claim. Although Adam repented and Allah accepted his repentance, they claim so. They claim that Jesus was crucified to make people forgiven by God, with which mankind atoned for the original sin, with which mankind is allegedly, professedly burdened. And this legend became so firmly established among the latter-day followers of Jesus that even his enemies, the Jews, began to believe it, albeit in spite of, in a derogatory, degrading, humiliating sense, humiliating meaning, for crucifixion was in those times a heinous form, a disgusting form of death penalty, reserved, private, for the lowest of criminals. This, to my mind, to Muhammad Asad's mind, is the only satisfactory explanation of the phrase وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. The more so as the expression شُبِّهَ li is idiomatically synonymous, has got the same meaning with خُيِّلَ li, a thing became a fancied image to me, i.e. in my mind. In other words, it seemed to me, see Kamus, Khayala, etc., Lane Dictionary. Okay. بَلْ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَزِيزًا حَكِيمًا. Nay, God exalted him unto himself, and God is indeed almighty wise. Allah exalted Jesus unto himself, and God is really almighty wise. Verse number 159. وَإِن مِّنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ إِلَّا لَيُؤْمِنُنَّ بِهِ قَبْلَ مَوْتِهِ وَيَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ يَكُونُ عَلَيْهِمْ شَهِيدًا. Yet there is not one of the followers of earlier revelation who does not, at the moment of his death, grasp the truth about Jesus, and on the day of resurrection he himself shall bear witness to the truth against them. Yet there is not one of the followers, believers of earlier revelation, who does not, at the moment of his death, grasp the truth about Jesus, and on the day of resurrection in the hereafter, he himself shall bear witness to the truth against them. Explanation 173. Sorry, we didn't talk about the previous explanation. First, we will talk about it and then the later. Explanation 172, the chapter Al Imran, verse number 55, where God says to Jesus, "Verily, I shall cause thee to die. Indeed, I shall cause you die, and shall exalt thee unto me, you unto me." The verb rafa'ahu, literally, he raised him. Allah raised Jesus, or elevated him, has always, whenever the act of rafa', elevating of a human being, is attributed to Allah, to God, the meaning of honoring or exalting. So Muhammad Asad wants to say that it is metaphorical, not real elevation. Nowhere in the Quran is there any warrant for the popular belief that God has taken up Jesus bodily in his lifetime into heaven. So he wants to say that Jesus died. The expression God exalted him unto himself in the above verse shows the elevation of Jesus to the realm of God's special grace, special mercy, a blessing in which all prophets partake, all prophets join, as is evident clear from the chapter Maryam, verse number 57, where the verb rafa'nahu, we exalted him, is used with regard to the prophet Idris. See also Muhammad Abduh, his Quran exegesis Manar. The nay bel at the beginning of the sentence is meant to emphasize the contrast between the belief of the Jews that they had put Jesus to a shameful death on the cross, and the fact of God's having exalted him unto himself. So he was a good man. Jesus was a good man. Now we will explain the explanation note for the verse 159. Explanation number 173. Literally, who does not believe in him before his death. According to this verse, all believing Jews and Christians realize at the moment of their death that Jesus was truly a prophet of God, having been neither an impostor, a forger, nor the son of God, nor the son of Allah. Zemakhshari says so. Verse number 160. فَبِظُلْمٍ مِّنَ الَّذِينَ هَادُوا حَرَّمْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ طَيِّبَاتٍ أُحِلَّتْ لَهُمْ بِصَدِّهِمْ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَثِيرًا. So then, for the wickedness committed by those who follow the Jewish faith, did we deny unto them certain of the good things of life which aforetime had been allowed to them. And we did this for their having so often turned away from the path of God. So then, for the badness did by those who followed the Jewish faith, did we refuse unto them certain of the good things of life which aforetime before had been allowed to them. And we did this for their having so often turned away from the path of Allah. Explanation 174. Most of the commentators accept that this refers to the severe dietary, a regulated diet, restrictions, limitations imposed on the Jews, which are hinted to in the chapter Ali Imran, verse number 93. What does it say? All food was lawful to the children of Israel, except what Israel made unlawful for itself, before the law of Moses was revealed. Say, bring you the law and study it if you be men of truth. Yusuf Ali's translation. And the chapter 6, the chapter An'am, verse number 146. Since, however, the chapter Al Imran 93, verse number, clearly says that these restrictions, limitations and prohibitions were a punishment for evil deeds, evil doings, done before the Torah was bestowed, was given from on high. While the verse which we are now discussing relates to their sinful, their bad behavior, unacceptable behavior in later times, we must conclude that the punishment spoken of here has another meaning, namely the age-long deprivation of the Jewish people of the many good things of life which other nations enjoy, because they had to escape from the Pharaoh's oppression. In other words, the humiliation, and we must conclude that the punishment spoken of here has another meaning, namely the age-long deprivation of the Jewish people of the many good things of life which other nations enjoy. In other words, the humiliation and suffering which they have had no undergo, which they have had to bear throughout most of their recorded history, and particularly after the time of Jesus. It is on the basis of this interpretation that I have given meaning, the expression harramna alayhim, literally we forbade them, we banned them, as we denied to them. Explanation 175. The verb sadda, he turned away, can be transitive as well as intransitive, and the same applies to the noun said, derived from it. In the former case, previous case situation, the sentence would read, for their having turned away many others from the path of God. In the latter case, for their having so often turned away from the path of God. So there are two meanings. They encouraged people to leave the way of Allah. Also, they left the way of Allah. Two meanings are possible. Muhammad Asad wants to say so. In view of the repeated repeated meaning in the Quran on the refractory, on the stubborn nature of the children of Israel, and the abundant, plentiful evidence to this effect in the Old Testament, I prefer the intransitive rendering. Verse number 161. وَأَخْذِهِمُ الرِّبَا وَقَدْ نُهُوا عَنْهُ وَأَكْلِهِمْ أَمْوَالَ النَّاسِ بِالْبَاطِلِ وَأَعْتَدْنَا لِلْكَافِرِينَ مِنْهُمْ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا. And for their taking usury, although it had been forbidden to them, and their wrongful devouring of other people's possessions, and for those from among them who continue to deny the truth, we have readied grievous suffering. And for their, the sons of Jacob, Israel, taking usury, although it had been banned to them, and their wrongful eating greedily of other people's belongings, and for those from among them who continue to refuse the truth, we have prepared serious grief. There is no explanation. Verse number 162. لكن الراسخون في العلم منهم والمؤمنون يؤمنون بما أنزل إليك وما أنزل من قبلك والمقيمين الصلاة والمؤتون الزكاة والمؤمنون بالله واليوم الآخر أولئك سنؤتيهم أجرا عظيما. But as for those from among them who are deeply rooted in knowledge, and the believers who believe in that which has been bestowed upon thee from on high, as well as that which has bestowed from on high before thee, and those who are especially constant in prayer and spend in charity, and all who believe in God and the last day, these it is unto whom we shall grant a mighty reward. But as for those people from among them, the sons of Israel, who are deeply rooted in knowledge, they know, they have got information, they have got science related to the religion well, and the believers who believe in that which has been bestowed upon you, given to you from on high, as well as that which was bestowed, which was given from on high before you, and those who are especially constant in prayer, they consider their daily prayers, they pray regularly, and spend in charity for the sake of Allah, they spend their money, and all who believe in Allah and the hereafter, these it is unto whom we shall give a big award. Explanation 176, i.e. those from among the Jews who do not content themselves with a mere observance, with a mere performance of ritual prayers, but try to penetrate to the deepest meaning of faith. Explanation 177, according to the grammarians of the Basra school, and especially Sibawayh, he is linguist, the use of the accusative mansub case in the expression al-muqimin as-salah, those who are constant in prayer, instead of the nominative al-muqimun, is a legitimate grammatical device meant to stress the special praiseworthy quality attaching to prayer and to those who are devoted to it, regularly praying people. To it, see Zamakhshari and Razi. Hence my interpolation, my meaning of especially between brackets. Verse number 163. Inna awhayna ilayka kama awhayna ila Nuhin wan nabiyyina min ba'dih. وأوحينا إلى إبراهيم وإسماعيل وإسحاق ويعقوب والأسباط وعيسى وأيوب ويونس وهارون وسليمان وآتينا داود زبورا. Behold, we have inspired thee, O Prophet, just as we inspired Nuh and all the prophets after him, as we inspired Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and their descendants, including Jesus and Job and Jonah and Aaron and Solomon, and as we vouchsafed unto David a book of divine wisdom. Pay attention, we have inspired you, O Prophet Muhammad, just as we inspired Noah and all the prophets after him, as we inspired Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and their descendants, their grandsons, including Jesus and Job. In Muslim culture it is Ayub, and Jonah in Muslim culture it Yunus in the Quran, and Aaron in the Quran Harun, and Solomon in the Quran Sulaiman. And as we vouchsafed, we gave unto David a book of divine wisdom. Explanation 178, i.e. the Psalms. Psalms, Mezmur in Muslim culture. See Surah Anbiya, verse number 105. Verse number 164. وَرُسُلًا قَدْ قَصَصْنَاهُمْ عَلَيْكَ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَرُسُلًا لَمْ نَقْصُصْهُمْ عَلَيْكَ وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. And as we inspired other apostles whom we have mentioned to thee, are this, as well as apostles whom we have not mentioned to thee, and as God spoke his word unto Moses. And as we inspired other messengers whom we have spoken to you before this, and as well as messengers whom we have not mentioned to you, and as Allah spoke his word unto Moses. Explanation 179, i.e. before the revelation of this surah. Verse number 165. رُسُلًا مُبَشِّرِينَ وَمُنذِرِينَ لِئَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حُجَّةٌ بَعْدَ الرُّسُلِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَزِيزًا حَكِيمًا. We sent all these apostles as heralds of glad tidings and as warners, so that men might have no excuse before God after the coming of these apostles, and God is indeed almighty wise. We sent all these messengers as messengers of glad tidings, good news, and as warners, so that men might have no excuse before Allah, in front of Allah, after the coming of these messengers. And God is really almighty, powerful, and wise. وآخر دعوانا إن الحمد لله رب العالمين.